Welcome back, CIS Personal Finance students. This is Mr. Clement, and we are in Time Value of Money video number 4. Everything we've done so far, whether it be present value or future value, we're dealing with one pile of money one time. I've worked really hard this summer and I have $5,000 I can put in my savings account. What will it grow to in 4 years, 5 years, whatever that is? I know that I will get paid X amount of dollars in the future, 10 years down the road. Back that one-time payment all the way up to today and say, what is that one-time payment worth now? We're going to look at what if we start making regular payments, right? Whether they be yearly, whether they be semi-annually, whatever that happens to be. Think of a 401k plan in your job. I'm going to make monthly deposits for the next 15 years. I'm going to start up a Roth IRA, and I'm going to make annual deposits of $6,000 for the next 15 years. Now, it matters whether I drop the money in on January 1 and let it grow for a whole year, or I put the money in at the end of the year. That's one of the things that's going to change. We didn't worry about that before. It is one of the factors that's going to change as we take a look at some of these. So what are we talking about? We're talking about annuities. So we're looking at the future value of an annuity. Now, an ordinary annuity is one where the future amount is a series of deposits of equal size. And what are they going to equal then deposited over a finite number of equal interval periods based on a defined interest rate when the deposits are made at the end of the period, right? Clem is going to drop $6,000 into his Roth IRA. Always $6,000. Same $6,000 into the future. But I'm going to drop it in on December 31st. Right? That's an ordinary annuity because I'm doing it at the end of the period. So here's different math. We'll practice Clem's $6,000 number in a little bit. But George is going to deposit $3,000 into an IRA each year on December 31st. He's going to do that for 3 years. This account is going to earn an annualized 10% per year. That's going to be another change, right? Some of these things like savings accounts or loans or whatever, they would calculate the interest monthly or quarterly or semi-annually. So we were taking our annualized interest and either multiplying or dividing it to turn it into some other than an annual number. When we're looking at this one here, it's talking about an annual rate of return, a 10% rate of return every year. We're not going to divide or multiply the rate by anything in this example. We don't have anything going in day one, right? So from day 1 to day 365, nothing happens. Scratch that. Day 1 to day 364, nothing happens. 365, we drop in $3,000. We let that $3,000 grow for a year at 10% interest. On year 2, 364th day in, we're going to drop another $3,000. We had the old $3,000 that earned a year's worth of interest at 10%, and now another $3,000. At the end of the 3rd year, we had the original 3 that has now earned interest for 2 years, the second amount of 3 that earned interest for a year, and now we're dropping another 3. The answer we come up with is $9,930. That's what my 3 chunks of $3,000 at 10% rate of return over 3 years would be. So we're talking an ordinary annuity, right? Future value of an ordinary annuity, meaning we're dropping the money in at the end of the year. We're dropping $3,000 in at the end of each of the next 3 years. We're using a 10% annual rate of return. So equals future value, right? We want to know what this will grow to in 3 years. It's 10% and that's it, because it's an annual return. Right? It's not compounded monthly, quarterly, whatever. It's a 10% annual return. Number of periods. Well, we're doing this for 3 years. Here's where we make a change. Payment amount. Right? We start with 0. We're going to now put in $3,000 per year. I'm going to show it a negative 3,000, so the answer spits out positive. We don't have a present value because we didn't start with anything. Now, if this was Clem is working at ISD 466 and his 401k plan is valued at $300,000, and now I leave DC and I go teach somewhere else, or I go find a different job outside education, I could do the math and say, I want to start and put X number of dollars in a Roth IRA, 401k, whatever, and I'm bringing the money I had from my prior job. If I had money in a prior account, a 401k, a Roth, or whatever, that's where the present value number would be. In the annuities, the yearly drops we're making are in the payment amount, not in the present value. And again, because it is at the end of the period, the end of the year, that's why we're going to stay with 0. So $9,930. If we think of it, we do nothing. We drop $3,000 in. We drop another $3,000 here in year 2. But this $3,000 has earned 10% interest. Now we go ahead and drop another $3,000 in here, but this $3,000 has earned 10% interest. And whatever this number is here has grown by an additional $3,300. That $3,300 has now grown by another 10% annually. Right. Here's a visual of year 1. It grew and then it grew again. Year 2, at the end of the year, we dropped in and it grew. Year 3, we dropped it in. Right, $9,930. This is an ordinary annuity, meaning we're dropping it in at the end of the year. Well, what if we flip it around? What if we talk about something called an annuity due, right? Future value of an annuity, it's still dealing with that series of payments. They're equal size every single time. They're regular intervals. However, they're going to be dropped in at the beginning of the year, the beginning of the period, whatever that happens to be. Right? So, same $3,000, same 10% return. However, we're going to drop it in at the beginning of the year. So we're going to go future value, 10% annual rate. That's not going to change. We're still dealing with a 3-year period of time. Our payment amount is going to be $3,000. Present value, we don't have anything to begin with. We're now going to change our beginning or end to 1, right? We're starting the year with this money. And our number grew, right? So we're taking $3,000 at the beginning of the year and then calculating 10% interest on that. Now year 2, we're taking the same $3,000 at the beginning of the year. Now we're going to do it one more time. Turn this all into money. $10,923. Right? So we're making an additional almost $1,000 in interest. And again, 10% interest or 10% rate of return is a pretty good rate of return. But whether we drop the money in at the end of the year, this pile of money only grows at 10% for 2 years. End of year one to end of year two, end of year two to end of year three. This pile of money only grows from the end of year two to the end of the year three. This pile of money didn't earn anything, it just gets deposited, $99.30. As opposed to this $3,000 earns year one and two and three. Your year two money earns year two and year three, and your year three money earns all of year three. So we're looking at how ordinary annuities, meaning you're going to drop the money in at the end of the year, or ordinary due or annuity due, meaning you're going to drop it at the beginning of the year. Well, let's go to Clem's example. Clem is going to drop $6,000 in a year. And I'm going to drop it into an IRA, Roth IRA, and it's got an estimated 7.5% annual rate of return. Clem's 50, he's going to do this till 65, so he's going to do the same amount, right? Same $6,000 per year for the next 15 years. Now the key is it an ordinary, which is end of the year, or is it an annuity due, which is at the beginning? Let's do the first one at the end, right? An ordinary annuity. So 7.5% annual rate of return, number of periods. Well, I'm going to do this for the next 15 years. My payment amount, I'm going to drop $6,000 in per year. I don't have any money to begin it. First time I've used a Roth IRA, and I do it at the end of the year. That money will grow to $156,710.20. Slide over here and do an annuity due, meaning that's at the beginning of the year. I'm going to change that number from a 0 to a 1. And that got bigger by about, what, $12,000? That's a lot, right? That's a lot of money difference. So it is important to know whether it's at the end of the period or it's the beginning of the period. Because each of those $6,000 payments have one more year of earning 7.5% interest. So annuity due, beginning of the period. Ordinary annuity, calculated at the end of the period. Annualized interest, probably not changed by how often, right? Because it's an annual number. Now we got numbers going in the payments section, right? And it's going to be the same $6,000 I drop every single year going forward. What if that number changed, Mr. Clem? Now we're getting more complex. It's not impossible to do, but it's more complex. And we didn't bring anything over. Let's play with this number and say we brought money over. Right? Clem went ahead and he's got $50,000 from an old 401k. So I'm going to open this account, and at the end of the year, I'm going to drop my $50,000 from my old account, my old company, whatever I worked with, and I'm going to start putting in regular $15,000 or $6,000 payments for the next 15 years. Now, here's my key. I've got to make sure these two sets of numbers are corresponding, right? This is negative, so I got to make this number negative so they don't compare against each other. So when I'm bringing in 50 grand from an old company and I start dropping in 6 grand per year, now look at how much it grows, because this $50,000 has 15 years, 14 years really, because we're not doing it at the beginning of the year, we're doing it at the end. This 50 has 14 years of compounding at 7.5%. Well, what if we do it here at the annuity due or the beginning? Logically, you would think more because this had one extra year of all of the deposits, both the annualized deposits and the beginning deposit you're bringing in. They have one more year of annualized interest at 7.5%.